Oh hey, what's going on? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. This is the AT&T Quickfire. We did an unboxing video on this phone when we first got it a couple weeks ago, but we've had so much reader and viewer interest. And when I say reader, I mean readers of PhoneDog.com. You know, we've got a website, it's not just videos. You can go check it out, PhoneDog.com, news, reviews, there are forums where you can, share tips and tricks and complain about stuff and talk to other people about how funny I look, and that kind of thing. So check it out, PhoneDog.com, that's www. Alright, enough of the promotion. Anyway, we got enough reader interest in this phone that I figured it was worth a full-on video review. So let's take a little bit closer look in depth at the Quickfire. But I'll tell you straight up, honestly, unless you really wish that you could have a Sidekick but you're on AT&T, I think you're going to find this phone frustrating to work, or frustrating to use rather, and not really the best choice. Mainly it's because the touchscreen is just kind of wonky, it's just a little unpredictable. But let's check it out. Alright, so here it is, the AT&T Quickfire. It's made by PCD, which is a company that used to be known as UT Starcom, but now they're called PCD. And like I said, it's kind of like a Sidekick-esque phone for AT&T. AT&T came out with a bunch of new messaging phones in time for the holiday shopping season this year. And the Quickfire is probably the top of the line of them. There's also the Slate, the Pantech Slate, the Pantech Matrix, and the Samsung Propel. But Quickfire has 3G, a touchscreen, a full QWERTY keyboard, and access to a bunch of the different AT&T services. It's a large phone. You can see it here next to the Apple iPhone. About the same size, but much, much thicker. And so the Quickfire is a little bit bulky to carry around. It really is, very reminiscent of the Sidekick in terms of size and shape, and then also, of course, the sliding keyboard. You can see when you pop the keyboard open, the screen auto-rotates. Pretty basic, colorful menu on the home screen. You've got your main menu button. On the bottom, you've got 3 keys here: call, hang up, and then this takes you to your shortcut menu. Or back. Yeah, this is your shortcut menu. The hang up button will take you back. So here's your main menu. And you can see you've got the 3G. I don't have 3G access right now where I am. It's Edge only. But you've got access to some of the 3G services. AT&T Music, cellular video, the GPS, AT&T GPS, in addition to the other stuff. We'll check that out more in a minute. Go back. Here's your phone call menu. And so it's a dialing pad. And so when I was saying about the touchscreen being a little wonky, it works fine for just kind of hunt and peck. You want to just find a button and press it, and that works pretty well. Where it's a little bit difficult to use is when you have to scroll. So there's no scrolling yet. Let's see if I can get to we don't want to go to the browser yet. We'll get you to a screen where there's some scrolling, and you'll see. Here's the phone book screen, and so in any of these screens you can pop it open and go to the widescreen mode. So here you have to scroll, and maybe it's just you have to kind of get used to the touch, but I found the scrolling to be a little bit unpredictable sometimes, a little bit frustrating to use. There's no stylus included, so this is a touchscreen only phone. It's a resistive touchscreen, not capacitive, so it reacts to pressure. And I just find it a little bit unpredictable. I would say with all these devices, something that I find hard to use, you might be watching this and saying, I have a Quickfire and it's easy, I don't know what's wrong with you. So in all cases, definitely try before you buy, because the feature set and the spec sheet and these videos can only show you so much, but you really, you get a feel for the device when you actually go in and you try it yourself. So you can see here I'm having some trouble getting back a menu. So, again, what's easy for me, having to click a few times. What's easy for me might not be easy for you, and vice versa. So there you go. Definitely go play around with the touchscreen yourself. To get back to the device, it's a messaging device more than anything else. And so here's the main messaging screen. And the keyboard, when I first tried it, I thought it was really comfortable to use. After using it a little bit more, a couple things. The buttons themselves are easy to use. Pretty good key action. They're kind of chiclet style, but they definitely have a nice discernible click. Sorry, I'm do a little typing here. A nice discernible click when you when you press them. The spacebar is center mounted and twice as long as the other keys, which is good. The dialing keypad is done up in a darker color and a gray here, makes it easy to see. Backlit, as you can see, the lights just went off. So the keys are pretty good themselves. The borders, though, the plastic that's around the side of the keys, the more I use the phone, the more I found it to get a little bit in the way. On the sides here, the plastic is sloped down towards the middle, which should make it a little bit easier to use. And it does, but it's a little bit, a little bit close for comfort. Not too bad, but, encroaches a little bit when you're typing on here on the sides. The bottom of the touchscreen, though, I definitely found gets in the way a little bit when I'm typing on this top row of keys. And it's not that big of a deal, but it's just a little bit less comfortable than some other devices I've found. And it's, when you're kind of flying around the keyboard and you go up to the top, I kept kind of bumping my thumbs. Again, not a huge deal, but, a consideration, because this is a messaging phone first and foremost. When you're composing a message, you can hit the Add Media button. You can add in multimedia to make it an MMS message. It's got, a menu for emoticons and all that kind of stuff. But you can see, little problem here getting the touchscreen to respond. I don't know if you noticed, there were a couple cases there where the screen actually beeped. Like that. It registered my press, it beeped, but it didn't scan to the next menu. So, I haven't heard anything about a firmware update. Maybe a firmware update would correct that. Definitely a little bit frustrating to use. So it's a combination not just of the touchscreen itself, but apparently the software, firmware as well, which can make it a little bit frustrating. We'll get out of this message menu here. AT&T Mobile Email. It's a Java app. It's the standard AT&T Mobile Email, which means no support for Gmail, support for plenty of other providers, but no Gmail support out of the box. Pretty easy to set up. You've got your built-in IM client, also Java powered. AIM, Windows, Yahoo Messenger. And actually, let's, I don't know if I have this one set up. You can see here again that scrolling through the menu, just using the arrow keys, just doesn't work that well. A little unpredictable. You can scroll, but getting down to there are more options below. I'm trying to get to the sign out option. And just the touchscreen just doesn't work as well as it really should. So you can see here when you're signing out, you can leave your conversations available offline, just like you can on other AIM clients, which is nice. Sign out menu here. A little bit different of a menu setup. No shortcuts on the bottom here, but just your 5 choices, and then you can hit more. Takes you to the main menu, and then it's a text menu. And just again, a little bit more difficult to scroll through than it really should be. In the unboxing video, you can see me launch the web browser, and I tried to go to PhoneDog, and it crashed the browser. So not a full HTML browser. Works okay, works well for WAP sites. We'll go to AT&T Music here. You've got a music player. Nothing in it right now, I don't believe. Of course, there's a music player, but the phone doesn't come with any sort of headphones. So you can go Bluetooth on this. And there's no actual headphone jack. Micro SD card slot here. No headphone jack, though. So kind of funny that they would release a phone with a built-in music player, but no headphone jack to be found. Interesting. We'll go to all music. There's no music on here. Yeah, the touchscreen is just too difficult to use, if you ask me. Back to the main menu. Works fine for voice calling. Speaker built in. Call quality was pretty good. Again, just dependent on how AT&T works in your area, but about average call quality, I would say. The cellular video and stuff not going to work here because I'm edge only. And it's got the GPS, it's got everything else, but I think really with this device, what you're going to find, with this device is that the touchscreen is going to be frustrating, and getting through the menus is going to be a little bit frustrating. So if you really like the form factor and you really like the idea of having the QWERTY board, it's a Sidekick-esque device. It has some of the other services, but all the music services, but no headphone jack, so that's kind of odd. You can use Bluetooth though. But definitely try before you buy, and hopefully they'll release a firmware fix that will help with the touchscreen. But in the meantime, other AT&T messaging phones out there, And given the fact that it has the other services, but it's kind of frustrating to use, again, I think I would recommend the Pantech Slate over this phone for a phone that's messaging centric. And if you want a 3G AT&T phone that has all the other services and a keyboard, even though it's more expensive and the data plan is more expensive, I would suggest checking out a device like the HTC Fuse or the BlackBerry Bold or BlackBerry Curve, or the Samsung Epics, because they are smartphones that are a little bit more complicated to use, but they just work better than this does. So unfortunately, not so enthusiastic about the Quickfire, but you know, get back to me definitely if there's a firmware release, firmware update released, or a new revision that fixes some of the touchscreen issues. All right, you can find out much more about the Quickfire and all the other AT&T messaging phones and all the other phones on PhoneDog.com. Till next time, I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.